Okay.
That's done.
Starting the stream. And hey, everyone, this is episode 353 being recorded on January 31st of 2019, and it's at a very special time. We've got schedule changes at the last minute necessitating this, but we're even pleased to have Marcus from Working Class Nerds back as a guest. So this actually is working out pretty well as far as I'm concerned. And we have lots to do to sort of get the thing hangout ready. So there's going to be a little bit of this and that while I do that. But let me get into Twitch chat, among other things.
You know,
And then I will tweet things out, and we'll be ready to go momentarily.
All right.
I
just gotta go.
This doesn't have to. I might repeat it during the episode, but the whole why don't we just do it now that you did, Marcus? That's exactly what my whole job is. We'll be talking about things we wish we did, and it's well, why don't you do it now? So that was pretty cool.
Hold on. You have no idea, Doc, what is going on right now for me right now.
I don't. Oh, good. You got the final results in already, Chill.
I did. I put that in for you. It was amazing. 50-50.
You know, I'm going to talk about this again, but I feel like that's a sign that the question was constructed
well. Oh, this is comedy.
Fun.
This is comedy. No, this is comedy show. So I'm in my work van right now. My laptop is on my desk, my dashboard. I don't really have a microphone. I told my employees to text me if there's a problem. It's comedy. This is comedy.
I'm going to go ahead and retweet. I just sent it out on the OotiniCast account, tweeted it out that we're live. I'm going to retweet it because, I mean, it's going to be hard enough for people to make this anyway, so we at least want everyone who can to see it. All right. Crazy. But fun. In some ways, it's actually it's actually like a treat to sort of have this little craziness to it, where it's, let's put on a show and Mickey Rooney it up.
Yeah. No, we totally should, and you guys can let me have it for how much of a diva I am with my schedule now.
And how much time does everyone have? I mean, I obviously have as much time as we need, but Doc and Marcus, how about you guys?
I've got an
hour show.
Okay, so we'll keep it to an hour.
And,
I think that's fine. The news is
minutes.
relatively light. The news is relatively light anyway.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, I looked everywhere, and there's just not that much going on. I got lucky that there's they announced the season 10 ranked rewards, because that'll actually be a bit of a time filler.
We can talk about Anthem. I have nothing to contribute on that topic, but
yeah, I don't either. It's starting to show up even in my chat when I stream, but yeah. I was looking at that game pretty, semi-seriously early on, and then I don't know, the information on it was so kind of weird and vague and kind of back and forth that I kind of lost interest and dropped out on it. It's some of it looked cool, but then I heard that the very early trailers were sort of very, very hashed together from, sort of very massaged, and who knows what the final product would be like, or maybe it'd be even better, or maybe it'd be nothing like it. Who knows? So I kind of ended up kind of bagging it.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we ready to go? Because we probably should get going pretty soon.
Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause I'm afraid there's not going to be a lot of people in chat or whatever, but that's understandable. All right. Let me do a little stretching here.
Hey, Dak.
Hey, Dick. How's it going?
One.
Yay! And SWTOR John's here. Awesome. All right. John's been joining me on a lot of my streams. I appreciate that. Nice to see you, John. Hey, Dick. I was doing some my bank. I was on my bank alt last night cleaning up, off stream, and so I donated like a number of decos to the Nightside Guild. So hope that helps. I don't know if there's any like decos that we really need, but I saw some that I had that the guild didn't have any, and I went ahead and gave them some. So yeah, so hopefully those will be helpful or interesting.
So there's a bot you can get that takes out the typing sound out of your mic.
Nice. We have that too, only it's called me editing the episode later.
Yeah, there's a bot you can get.
Yeah, fortunately, it's like on the Audacity line, it's a very specific looking noise. So whenever I see Dr. SWTOR's line and it looks like that, I know he's not talking. I know, or laughing, or just or in some way doing anything like that. I know that it's just the typing, and I can just go. Whoop.
Yeah.
Okay, if we're ready, we might as well go ahead and get rocking and rolling.
Yeah,
let's do this.
All right. Let me take a little more water. And I feel like, because it's morning, maybe I just, like, my voice is tight.
It sounds good.
Thank you. All right.
Like you're a champion.
Like a 50-year-old boxer. All right. Which is, except for the boxer part, that's pretty much what I am.
It's all right. I'm 36 today, so it's all good.
Hey, happy birthday. Wow.
Thanks.
We got you on your
Happy
birthday. I didn't know that.
birthday.
You didn't mention that. Happy birthday, man. That's awesome.
I knew it, but I kept forgetting to mention it.
That's cool.
We're all busy. So I am doing this. I should be working.
Right. I think we've delayed long enough, and I know you guys are low on time, and at least there's a few people who have been able to join us, so let's go ahead and get going. Going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that will stay far back enough to cover you. This is episode 353, being recorded on Thursday, January 31st, 2019. I'm your host, Chill. We're coming in at a very special time, so it's early morning. If I make any weird voice errors or just errors in general, you'll have to bear with me. I am your host, Chill, however, that part was correct, and with me is my co-host, Dr. SWTOR. Hey, Dr. SWTOR.
Hey, Chill, and thanks to everyone who's listening at our new early time. You're welcome.
Yeah, right. Well, this particular time is extra early and very weird. The next couple of weeks will still be sort of on the unusual side, but like less extreme, and then we'll go back to like the more normal 6 p.m. Pacific time once Dr. SWTOR has this little thing blow past him. And we do have a guest today, despite the changed and very weird time. Marcus from Working Class Nerds was able to make it. Hey, Marcus, thank you so much. How you been? What's up?
I am sitting in my work van right now with my laptop on my dashboard. I have a headset on. The extension cord is coming outside of my shop to my door where my laptop battery charger is hanging out of it. And, we were going to record earlier, but, we're doing it early, and it's not morning. It's 1:42 real world time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, if there's any weird noises in the background and you're obviously not working on you're not working on your pro mics at for your podcast. So we get it. We're so glad you can make it though.
I'm so happy to be back. There's so much to talk about. Let's do this.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let us know, what you've been doing personally, but also Working Class Nerds. I keep seeing, mentions of you pop up here and there all across, the various social media. Let us know what's going on with your podcast too.
So I'll start with Working Class Nerds. We just recorded episode 35.
Nice.
We had guest Nazir back on to talk about gearing from 5.10. And we also talked about some Anthem stuff, which Doc is so excited about that he's so excited he's typing about Anthem right now. So
I am. Can't wait.
Yeah. So the what else have I been doing? Well, really, I've been parsing. I feel like this whole past week and a half or 2 weeks I've been doing nothing but parsing a dummy, trying to get better for our Death Star Troopers team,
nice.
which we've converted to hard mode about mid-November. And, of course, I'm in love with Brontes, so we decided that that would be the first stop we go to. And we hit a wall with Draxus for a little while, but we finally beat him. And we made a major switch to our roles, which we had Doc as a healer, but now Doc is a DPS. So, maybe it was just that extra little bit of lightning that helped us get Draxus down. Excellent. Which was great. And then I put together a group of misfit toys on Monday night, and we went back to Dread Fortress, and we beat Grobfuck and Corruptor Zero, which was pretty exciting. So,
excellent.
Of course, we have this Sunday off due to the Super Bowl. Go Patriots. Rams. And so we'll be picking up Dread Fortress next week. Exciting stuff.
Well done. Very nice. And so what are your plans coming up the next couple of weeks?
My plans are working on my OSIS dailies, trying to get more of those 252 gear pieces, which I don't really enjoy at all, but I guess I have to do it because I'm the ops leader. And pretty much that's it, and do as many hard mode operations as I can. And hopefully I can drag Doc into them as well.
That's nice. Yeah. Excellent. Well, welcome back. I'm so glad you could make it today. And Doc, how have you been? What you been up to?
Well, Marcus led on a little bit of what I've been up to. So there was a switch of roles for my Starforge focus. So my Satil Sean
Marcus,
focus,
can you turn off your mic for a little bit? Because I can hear all the crinkling noises or whatever that is. Thanks.
I'll just start over the whole
Thanks,
answer,
Doc.
And you can edit that. So I've been working on my tunes a little differently on the Starforge, like Marcus led on, and so I'm not healing on the Starforge, which psychologically is good for me because I've already grinded Osis enough on Satil Sean to get full to 252 as a healer.
Wow,
and
nice.
Some of it's 258 using the Masterwork crystals, and there's just not enough time in a week for me to do that same effort on 2 servers. And so I've got my healer tune for my Satil Sean raid team at a point where I feel like the heals I'm putting out are good enough for the veteran mode ops that we're attempting. And then we had to pause that because I'm teaching some evening courses that I wasn't teaching previously. And so at least I'm on hold on the Satil Sean right now. So the only raid team that I get to play on with my current schedule is with Marcus on Starforge. So I was really dragging on even starting Osis over there because I have full 248 for both roles, and I already grinded for a full healer set on the one server, and I just didn't want to replicate. And I am replicating it, but at least it's for a different role. Like, somehow that makes it better. So if anyone is getting burnt out on Osis, like, maybe that should be a mind trap coming up. Like, I'm getting there. I'm fatigued with Osis. I'm tired of those world bosses. I'm tired of the path that I know exactly how long it takes to finish it unless people steal my mobs. Like, things have to be alive to kill them. Things have to have the yellow line in order to click them. And, it's like the whole thing. Like, I know how the next, 45 minutes of my life are going to go. But I'm excited to be a DPS on one server now, and it's giving me a new mountain to climb in SWTOR. And so I haven't been a DPS since probably the middle of last year. So that's been a fun new adjustment. And also Marcus has to fight every boss without me, beat it, make me feel bad like I'm holding the team back. And then the next week when he has the lockout go away, we'll do the boss, and then I'll be there. So, like, he beat Draxus without me because I couldn't make it. Then next week I got to beat Draxus. So I'm feeling good about Corruptor Zero right now because I wasn't there for that. So.
And what you were saying is you're climbing a mountain. So would that be, because I'm the ops leader, would it be the Marcus Mountain?
I I don't know. That's a bit bizarre, Marcus.
You can climb my mountain.
Yeah, so like right now I'm writing a journal article about climbing mountains. So I'll talk more about that later. I guess that's on my mind. Yeah, so that's where I'm at, Chill. So who do we have in the chat room with us tonight?
Right, I'll do that in just a sec. I wanted to confirm. I can't remember for the life of me. Did we confirm that Audacity is rolling for you, Doc?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, cool. Mine is going too, and I know that Marcus is because we talked about that. So, yeah, so we've got, let's do a shout out to the chat room for this very unusual time. So thanks to everyone who could make it. Apricot, Root Fruit, Cumranda Root, Deck is here as Decion. DreadX, Doc is here, of course. Jay Birmingham, Positivity Bot, Pneumonectomy, Skinny Seahorse, SWTOR John is here, and Marcus is here as Working Class Nerd 17. So hey everyone, and thank you for coming at this very weird time. What I basically did is I started a Pyrotech Power Tech. I think the last character I was leveling, I was like kind of thinking about the different things in the game, and I realized that there was this whole flame like spec in the game that I'd never done a cosplay around, and it's also a spec that I've never really played either, because it's only on, I mean, at least it's only a fire spec on the Power Tech side, and it's not shared with the mercenary tree. So, you know, unless you specifically go into that one as a Power Tech, you're just not going to see it. There's a lot of other flame effects in Power Tech, and to a lesser degree to mercenaries as well. Well, maybe not even lesser, but mercenaries as well. But the Pyrotech it's like all flame. So I decided to make a cosplay character and level him up, and it's going really well. He's already in the low 60s. And I did not use any double XP boosts that you get as a subscriber as you go on, until I got past the class story, and I was like halfway through Ilum, and then I started using it because I didn't want to be underleveled and then not be able to like get into Prelude to Shadow of Revan and stuff like that. So I did, but the reason I did that is not for, not to be, just bullheaded or anything. It was because I wanted to sort of force myself to do some extra stuff. And the extra stuff that I tried to do this time was not, heroics, which I've done before, or the world arcs, which I've done before. But beyond the class story, I wanted to see like some of the little side missions that are there, and you almost have to highlight them on your map. There's a little option to turn them on. And it's not it's not the bright purple ones of the world arc, but some of the little ones that are just kind of out there at the various areas, and sometimes even in the field, and pick up some of those and see them again, because you kind of needed to do them when the game first launched, but then a couple expansions later, they kind of nerfed the amount of XP that it took, and you don't really need to do that anymore to level. So I hadn't seen a lot of them in a long time, and so I saw some very unusual ones, some interesting ones along the way, and yet it went fine. I mean, the XP still came really quickly. So then once I got to Ilum and McKeb, it's like, okay, I've seen even the side missions on these a lot. So and like I said, I wanted to get sort of back on track with the level. I wasn't badly underleveled, but like at the end of Corellia, I think it was like 40. I barely got to the end of like 47 at the end of Corellia, which is a little underleveled.
Yeah.
So now he's pretty much all caught up. He's in the low 60s. He's partway into the Rishi storyline. And it's a lot of fun. It's actually a really interesting spec, and I'm kind of enjoying it. So I'm thinking of if there's a cosplay I can make on the other side and see it as a trooper too. Although the trooper's not fire, it's sort of energy based. So I'm trying to come up with a good energy based cosplay that might be good. So I haven't really committed to one in my head, but I've got a couple of options.
Like maybe bishop or something like.
Yeah. There's exactly.
Absorbs energy or expels energy.
Right. There's a number of superheroes that use energy, but then it's a trooper, so it's like it's kind of tricky to get because you can cosplay it, but then the abilities are going to still be very kind of specific.
Break the illusion, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I need someone who definitely like. I mean, I could do Iron Man, but I've seen a lot of Iron Mans and that sort of thing, and he's not my favorite character. But that would work But anyway, I'll think about that some more. So anyway, his name is Chill Pyro, and he is based on Pyro from the X-Men. More the comic book version, which if you look him up, he's like bright red and orange. So I have this nice bright red and orange outfit on him, and people are making fun of his outfit when I tweet out to let people know that my stream is out, because it is a pretty outlandish outfit, and he's got the goggles and everything.
That means you're doing a good job, Chill.
Yeah, it works pretty well, because even though he's an X-Men and he is a mutant, the way his powers work in the comics is he has to have flame before he can actually alter it. So he wears like this technological outfit so that he can project flame whenever he needs to, so that he can actually use his mutant powers. So he looks like a tech guy even though he's a mutant, and that helps because that means I can actually, make this character look roughly right. So
I love that.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun.
Have you ever done
go ahead, Marcus.
No, I just want to know, have you ever made an Iron Man?
I haven't. I've seen a lot of them, and like I said, he's not my favorite character. I mean, until Robert Downey Jr. Donned the mask, I literally knew nothing about Iron Man as a character. Even though I read some comics as a kid. I wasn't the most assiduous comic book reader, but I had a few subscriptions, and I picked up some comic books, and I knew all the main characters, and Iron Man just wasn't on my radar at all until the movies came out. So
I want to ask you a question, Chill.
Yeah.
Since you were doing some of the quests that you have to kind of find them, you don't have to do them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where my mind is at with SWTOR. Do you miss that? Like, do you miss the whole, I need to find some quests to do because things are kicking my butt and I might die, and this game is a game in the sense that it's still challenging?
Right. Kind of, yes. I enjoy the process anyway, obviously, or else I wouldn't be doing it multiple times in a row.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there is definitely a part of me that's like also using like the not using the double XP boost to force me to actually to do this, because it's really easy if you get the double XP boost. You can pretty much, I mean, you don't even really have to do the world arcs. You can really just do your class arc, and you'll be fine.
Right.
You might do one or two things along the way extra, but you really can get away with like 90% of it being your class arc, and you're done.
Yeah.
So it was a nice way to sort of force me to do extra, but also it kind of did keep me under-leveled for most of the time. Like the first few planets, yeah, you kind of keep up anyway, and then it starts falling behind, and I was always like 1 and then 2 and then 3 levels behind. And once you're like 3 levels behind, and especially if you dip into like 4 territory, because at 5, you might remember that, and this mechanic is still in the game, if you're in an area where you're 5 levels under the things around you, you basically can't hit them. I mean, they're almost immune to your damage. So even if you have like really good gear and your companion's really leveled up, it doesn't matter. You are gonna die to something 5 levels or higher than you. That's still in the game.
Is it?
But there were times when I was like 3, and then like I say, a couple times 4 levels under, like mostly towards the end, like Voss and Corellia, and I had to like definitely make sure to do a couple of extra. So I did like the on Voss, I did the Shrine of Healing bit.
Yeah.
That little arc that little mini arc that you can do to to get attuned to the Shrine of Healing and all that. And you spend half an hour looking at a yellow screen.
Yeah.
So
I love that planet. It's my favorite planet in the game. For those of you who need to win on Dr. SWTOR trivia.
Okay. Right. And for the record, mine's Nar Shaddaa. How about yours, Marcus? Do you have a favorite planet, at least as far as like leveling and stuff goes?
I really love Nar Shaddaa.
Mm-hmm.
I really do.
It's my favorite too, yeah. It's still, even though I spent like all those millions of credits for the Rishi Stronghold and getting it all unlocked and stuff, I haven't moved away from the Nar Shaddaa Stronghold.
Right? That first room is perfect for being a stronghold. Like you don't need the rest of it. It's
Yes, exactly.
it's perfect. You can fit the GTN in a place. It doesn't feel crowded. You can have all your lockers and you can have all your little droids and all your Jawas, and you don't feel like it's a crowded mess. Just that opening room is perfect.
Yep.
Perfectly designed to be a stronghold.
Yeah. To be like a main stronghold where you just go to do your banking stuff, essentially.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's exactly how I use it. So, and I love the Rishi one, but I just haven't really, I haven't spent the time to go over there and decorate it properly. It looks it looks like that first area where you get on there and there's that whole platform. It looks like there's a number of hooks there. You could probably set it up pretty well to be like that same sort of thing, but I haven't done it yet.
So I wish I had an opinion. I went to the Utini one to practice on the healing droid, and I was only there for 5 minutes. I couldn't figure out what the point of this is. So, if I were still focused on healing right this moment, I'd probably start looking that up on Reddit or something and find someone who has explained to us people who don't want to figure it out for ourselves.
Yeah.
The DPS droid is so easy to understand. Like I just couldn't figure out what the purpose of the healing one was. But part of that's probably I don't have my own stronghold and I haven't sat there to figure it out.
Right. Yeah. So in any case, I'm really enjoying this spec. I've never, like I say, I've never done it before. The effects are really cool. I mean, they're all very fire oriented and they work it. There's a cone ability that's sort of important to the spec that's a little tricky to hit because it's not target oriented, and it's a little iffy, like where the effects are versus who you're actually going to hit, and also it's based on where your character is turned. So if your character is turned but the camera's not, you can miss that way and stuff like that. So it's a little tricky to use, and it has the spec has a bit of a problem with overheating. Like there's only a few abilities that give you like ways to help you with your heat management along the way, and I'm finding that even at level 61 I'm still needing to like weave in a lot of basic attacks that let my heat go back down. But other than that, it's pretty awesome. There's a lot of good AoE, like I say, a lot of fun effects. And the single target damage is pretty solid too. It's got some dots, but it's not really a dot spec. But it's got a couple of really solid dots, including one that I just got, so I haven't really played around with it that much. But it's basically like a really high damage dot it's high damage, but it's over 30 seconds, so it's really long. And you might think, well, that's kind of useless while you're leveling because all the fights are going to be over. And that's kind of true, except once you put it on, if someone dies, it jumps to another enemy within 10 meters. So you just apply it once, and it'll do damage until pretty much they're all gone. Right. Or until no one's 10 meters away from an enemy. But it's still pretty cool. I'm kind of playing around with it and finding the like limitations of that one, but it's an interesting mechanic. And so I'm liking that too.
That whole thing you're doing where you have a move and you're testing it out while you're playing the story and figuring out this is the optimal way to do it. This is a way, like, this way it doesn't work. I'm too far away, or it's not really a big enough mob to make the same kind of impact as if I have AoE to send out. That's also something that gets lost when you're consistently over level. Going back to that previous question, when you can hit 1 and 2 and win your class story and become the Barson Thor, it's like, what's the point of learning the difference between throwing the little pebbles and doing like the telekinetic blast?
Right.
So Marcus, you said you're doing a lot of dummy work. Like, are you, why don't, if you could you just like tell us where you're at with your moves and your rotation, like figuring out, since that's what I'm talking about right now, like figuring out like how do you make the Marauder work? Like, what are you getting into these days with that?
So I have no idea. So my first parse ever was like 8100 DPS, which I guess that's not great. And then slowly I've been working with other people who play Sentinels or Marauders, and they have helped me get my rotation better. And now I'm understanding where to hit ferocity and, what is it called? Bloodthirst at certain points of the fight. At certain points of the fight, when you hit a buff, I didn't realize this, it actually does more than if you're just hitting it through your rotation. So it's just figuring out all of those times to use it, and that everything is timed. So everything has timing. And just because your adrenal runs out doesn't mean you should hit it right there. You should hit it at the perfect opportune time for you to execute your rotation, so you get that extra amount of DPS. And I've never knew any of this until I started parsing and we started doing hard mode.
Yeah. I think that there's just so much. There's such a well of information with this game. Like, you can play it without knowing any of it, because there's level sync and there's bolster and all these other things. And then if you really start trying to challenge yourself, like, I have this new move, it lights up at certain parts of me beating down on people. You know, what does that mean? And there's a whole difference between single target and multi-target moves, or AoE moves, and there's also moves that just charge up other moves, you know, or make them automatically cast instead of channel. And I think that's, you know, that's how MMOs work, but that's something that I think SWTOR does well. Maybe it doesn't remind new players that this is what it does well, but, you know, if you take the time to learn it, you can keep learning forever. You know, that it's a mountain to climb, but it's a mountain that has no summit. You know, it just, you know, you do that 10k parse and it's like, how do I get to 10.2? You do, you know, you kill this mob in 30 seconds and it's like, how do I kill it in 28?
Well, I would say that, and learning. So you go into a story mode operation, you can stand in a red circle and it can explode and it doesn't hurt you. Where in hard mode, you stand in a red circle, you're dead.
Yeah.
And
the Draxus hallway.
Well, right, and even the Draxus fight, where you have wave after wave of ad, and everybody needs to understand exactly what those ads do in each wave, and every single person has a role to do, and if everybody does their role, you can succeed. And even if you get through all of the ads and you've done everything right, you can still hit the enrage timer, which says the DPS isn't doing their job.
Yeah.
And they need to do better. It's crazy. The things I'm learning now, I never thought I would learn like this. It's awesome.
Yeah, it turns into a team sport. Like, you have offense, defense, and special teams, but we have tanks, healers, and DPS, and, you know, then in the defense, you have the corners, you have the linemen, you have the linebackers, you know, you have the off tank, and you have the main tank. You know, I'm always thinking about this, like, this is what you do in order to forge a team mentality with other people, and, you know, practicing your role, like, you can do all the main class missions, you know, and BioWare gives us the easy path, and then there's this secret hard path. That's what I'm coming to understand about the game. So, you know, Chill and Marcus, thanks for letting me bounce those ideas off both of you.
You bet. And let's move on to the tip of the week. There are actually no tips this week, but I thought I'd give one.
Come on, guys.
I know. I even put out a message, but we didn't get one that I could spot. So if one comes in, you know, like at the last minute and I missed it, then you know, it'll definitely go in for the next week. But I'll give a tip in a second. But in every episode, we do have a tip of the week, and you know, everyone who enters gets a chance to win a Tonfon or M83 Droid pet code, courtesy of BioWare, and an OotiniCast provided cartel market from the latest shipment. And so if you have a tip, OotiniCast@gmail.com before the next show. The tip I've got is kind of related to one not too long ago, where people were putting double CXP boosts on their bar so that if they were in an operation and the boss was going down, they could easily hit it in case they needed to get it right before the boss dies, so that they don't miss out on a bunch of CXP. In this case, I'm talking about those stacks of gifts, where when you're leveling up your companions. So I do this while I'm leveling. Usually, I put a stack of gifts on my bar on some sort of less use keyboard combo. And that way I can give gifts anytime I have downtime without looking through my inventory. And my favorite times to do this are like when waiting for an elevator, because you have a few seconds there anyway, and also when you're on the elevator. Although some of the elevators are so fast, the game considers you to be too far away from your companion, which is kind of bizarre. But anyway, you can usually squeeze in a number of gift giving that, while you were doing essentially nothing else anyway. One other little trick is if you're quick traveling within the same planet, but not like going from the planet to the fleet where it would have to load in a new area, a new planet. But if you're going from, one area on Tatooine to another area on Tatooine, for instance, then there'll be a moment after the quick travel has cast, but before you actually travel, where you can actually either do an instant cast, like your class buff, or you can start the channel for giving a gift. And despite this traveling across the map, the gift cast will actually complete. So I actually often squeeze in an extra gift when I'm quick traveling while I'm leveling up. So there you go. Just another way to squeeze in a little gift giving. And because I know most people end up having to spend at some point, sometimes spamming a button, and maybe watching a YouTube video on another screen. And this is a way to sort of alleviate that a little bit.
It takes so long to do it.
It does.
Even with the fast thing, even with the upgraded gift giving, it's terrible. It should be like, they should come up with something that says, like a window, you want to give a gift. How many do you want to give? Click. Yeah. And that's just one time. 500. Boom. See you later. And you're done. Walk away. 3 seconds later, level 50 companion.
Yep, there you go. And again, if you have any tips for next episode, OotiniCast@gmail.com. That will move us on to the Jedi Mind Trap. Doc?
All right, so this week I was just thinking about, I get all of these questions all the time after I post my question. And it's like, why didn't you list this as an option? Why didn't you list this as an option? Or I do your question this way and it's not an option. And honestly, that's the fun part of the Mind Trap. So I decided to make it even more diabolical this week and force you to only choose one out of two. And I know that a lot of people look at this question, and the charm of our game is that it is a fun MMO game with pure Star Wars nostalgia. Mm-hmm. And I was just curious yesterday morning. Yes, we get it. But which one wins? Like, is it a terrible MMO game, but it looks like Star Wars, and so I play it? Or is it not the best Star Wars game I've played, but I need an MMO in my life, right? And then, of course, there's going to be millions of people potentially in the middle where they believe it's a great MMO and it's Star Wars. And so I want all of us to be on a level playing field and say, oh, well, I can only choose one. And then which one wins? And I'm shocked right now before we talk about the results. But before we do that, Marcus, I want to hear your thoughts on Star Wars The Old Republic as an MMO game and the best Star Wars game available right now.
I play Star Wars because it's Star Wars. I never played an MMO before Star Wars anyways. So I guess it's my first one, so it's still my first love. Like, I played a little bit of Destiny, but that's not a traditional MMO, and I tried the other ones. But nothing is like holding two lightsabers and doing carnage to every single person in your path. And then listening to everybody say how it's the Marauders' fault. It just brings a giant smile to my face. So I would say I play this game because it's Star Wars, and it just happens to be an MMO.
Okay. And so, Chill, where do you fall on this question, too?
Yeah, I had to think about that. It was a good question. What I came down on the side of was it's a fun MMO game. That's the one I chose. And the reason was, I stream every day, so I wouldn't be able to do that if the game itself wasn't fun. I mean, the Star Wars is definitely, what brought me to the game, and it's still a lot of the fun of the game. But if it wasn't an interesting and fun game, then I would have a hard time still playing it. Still be playing it after 7 years, and I still love the fact that it's story oriented and all that, and the fact that all the stories Star Wars does help. But as you said, this is the way you phrased it. You had to come down one side or the other, and so ultimately it's because I enjoy the process of the game itself. So that's what I chose.
So you're on the fun MMO game, and Marcus, for you, Star Wars brought you in.
Absolutely, Star Wars brought me in. That's why I bought the collector's edition. I saw Darth Malgus and I was like, who is that guy? I need that statue. And then when the game came out, I played it for 5 minutes, it seems like, and I said, it's not fast-paced enough for me. I got to go back to Call of Duty. But later, I found it again and I was like, why did I ever not play this game? So, but for the most part, Star Wars brought me to it. And I play it now because it's a great game, but I play the game because it's Star Wars.
Right. So the results, we had 260 people vote.
It's a lot of people.
That's the best Mind Trap question that I've done as co-host of OotiniCast, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe that's right, yeah.
And almost by double. So maybe it's that it was a simple question, or it didn't feel threatening to anyone. Like I'm not sorting people into the people who play it right and the people who don't get it. I'm also shocked that, there is a blue check mark on It's a Fun MMO Game, but it says 50-50, so...
Right. It was, that's 130
right
to 130.
So
that's amazing.
So we start out with this idea that people play because it's a fun MMO game with Star Wars nostalgia. And then somehow the community voted 50-50, and you don't get to see what's leading before you put your vote in. So,
which I like.
One of the things that has been apparent to me since I did a presentation last year on loot boxes, there was one slide where I talk about what causes people to spend money within the world of the game, like real life money, microtransactions. And that list, the number one reason is emotional attachment to the world of the game, which is in parentheses nostalgia. And on the show notes, I've included the first half of that slide. Now that one's talking about why people would spend money in the cartel market, but nostalgia has been really in the front of my mind in terms of the story that I got in the conversation, because lots of people commented to me about this question too, is that some of them picked It's a Fun MMO Game, but they're like Marcus, that they wish they could pick both because they only started playing because it is Star Wars. So there's something really great about this franchise that brings people into things they're not sure they even understand or not sure they're going to like. But it's that appeal of being, lightsaber in one hand and throwing lightning from the other, which Marcus totally agrees is the right way to play the game. And
negative.
And so you get that idea, like, I can be the Star Wars character here. And MMOs give you such a different experience than video games. Like, there have been so many good video games that have come out this month in particular, but also the last couple months, and yet I'm playing SWTOR. It's become for me a fun MMO game too, and I was not impressed with other MMOs that I tried for 5 hours or so previously before this game came out. And I talk to people all the time in my field about how, like, this game has given me a lot more than just something to play, for me in particular. My students told me I made 17 Star Wars references during class last night. So, it's SWTOR has become this thing that's essentially in the core of who I am. It may be different, but I think a lot of players may feel that way too, that they've learned to appreciate MMOs. They didn't know what they were. They knew what Star Wars was. Or they've liked other MMOs and they just like how it feels with Star Wars being a part of it. So thanks everyone who voted. I'm blown away by the participation in this poll, and it's given me a lot of things to think about for the next one. So let's get on with our business and move along, Chill.
All right, that'll bring us to the Holo feed, going over the news. They are still on the PTS doing the Hive of the Mountain Queen. It's going to be the new world boss on Osis, and I don't really want to go over all the details of the fight because the people who are interested in it are already reading these kind of notes. But there's a couple of fun details here that I want to say just because I find it interesting or amusing. One is, in veteran mode, the Queen, Elite Guards, and Royal Guards will show an Executioner flavor buff that explains that these enemies power murder stunned targets. And I love the fact that power murder is one word, not two. It's a whole new word all to itself. Power murder.
It's like taking somebody to Murder Town.
Exactly. Or Flavor Town, yes.
Flavor Town.
And then let's see. And finally, Staggering Strike's tooltip will be slightly funnier. So there we go. We can look forward to a funnier tooltip for Staggering Strike. So anyway, so if you are interested in the PTS, or you're interested in in hitting that boss once it comes up, you might take a look at the dev notes, because they do have pretty good notes on what's going on there. So there was a maintenance on January 29th. There's no patch needed, but it was a back-end update, as they call it. However, they did explain a little later why it was a 6-hour maintenance for something that was only a back-end update. And Eric said, "I wanted to jump in quick for some extra details. I know many of you will look at Tuesday's 6-hour maintenance with no patch and be curious what's up, especially since we've had a few like this lately. Over the past couple of months, we've been doing a variety of hardware upgrades in our data centers. Extended maintenances, like next week's, are specifically for when we are replacing critical hardware. We need to build in extra time, as we'll be going through extensive testing as a part of these upgrades. Having extended time also lowers the risk of having to extend the overall maintenance time as well. We try to minimize long hours of downtime, but ultimately these upgrades offer better overall stability to the game in the long term. We appreciate your patience, and hopefully we're almost through this round of extended back-end maintenance." So there you go. If you've been wondering why, that's what's going on. It makes sense, especially since we know they've sort of accumulated all of the servers for SWTOR into one big data center. So it makes sense that they would need to be upgrading those. And one of the last, there's not a ton of news, so I'm glad. That's why an extra reason to be happy that Marcus is here, not just because he's a great guest anyway, but because there's just not a ton of news this week.
And because I love to talk.
Exactly. Podcasters and streamers always make good guests because of that. But Season 10 ranked PvP rewards were announced, which is kind of cool. And they also mentioned that, as a reminder, after Season 10 ends, all Season 9 tokens will be converted into credits. And this will be your last chance to redeem these tokens, so don't miss out on that. There's a really cool picture of one of the armor sets that's coming out, and it's very kind of cool. It's both Mandalorian and it's also sort of Jedi-ish at the same time, because the tunic kind of reminds me of Satil Shan's, with sort of like the big, sort of the flaps of leather, that sort of deal.
I see it.
But there's a very metallic Mandalorian style helmet, and the gloves and the boots are very heavy as well. It's a very interesting look. I can see a lot of people liking that one. And there's also a note here. Season 10 marks the first time that cross-faction play has been a part of ranked PvP. With more competition comes a couple of changes as to how we break down rating tiers. First, each tier now has different rating requirements for solo and group play. This is due to overall rating differences between these gameplay types. And second, rating requirements across the board have lower requirements, so be sure to double check where your characters fall. We which makes sense because if they are separating them, it's a little harder to climb. Another change you'll notice is that the number of ranked tokens earned in each tier has been lowered. This is because starting at the end of Season 10, ranked tokens are no longer season-specific. They don't expire across seasons and can be used to purchase any available rewards. Season 10's unique item, the Resourceful Renegade Armor Set, also has a lower price than other seasonal rewards, 50,000 tokens, to match the reduced token rewards. This, however, will be raised once Season 11 ends. On to the tier and reward breakdown. And these look, in some ways these are similar to past seasons, but they will be different. There'll be decorations, but they'll be different decoration, that sort of thing. Okay. The bronze tier, you get a Season 10 flare, Season 10 battle flag, Season 10 decoration, and the Season 10 title, Your Name, The Accomplished, and 7,500 ranked tokens. Silver tier, and something else they always mention is like you get the maybe I don't know. Is that the only the platinum tier? Anyway, okay. Silver tier is Silver 10 season 10 flare, Season 10 battle flag decoration, and titles the prestigious and the accomplished. So you get the previous one as well as 15,000 ranked tokens. Gold is flare, battle flag, gold flare, battle flag, gold decoration, and titles the ingenious, the prestigious, and the accomplished, and 30,000 ranked tokens. And then the platinum tier is the top 3 of each advanced class on the leaderboard, which is pretty amazing. Platinum Season 10 flare, Platinum Season 10 title, and it's Your Name, the expert of that class, 45,000 tokens, and then all previous tier rewards, not including the token grants. Pretty cool. Then there's the purchasable rewards are the Resourceful Renegade Armor Set, which is the one I described above, and then the Stronghold decorations, Trophy Agree, Trophy Empire, Trophy Republic, and Trophy Speed. And
I don't do ranked PvP. I would love to try it, but I feel like every time I do it, somebody's yelling at me because I'm not good enough for it.
Right.
I try to watch some streamers stream ranked PvP, and I feel like it's hard to follow it because it's basically you need to know your class, and you need to know when to stealth out, you need to know when to heal yourself. I don't know. I wish ranked was 8v8, not just 4 versus 4.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I understand why they did it the way they did it, but yeah, it feels very very rough. I haven't done a lot of ranked myself either. They do continue there because they're doing all this changes about how you can acquire, how the tokens continue or don't, or and all that. So they say one thing we've all received a lot of requests for is players to be able to acquire old seasonal rewards that are no longer in the game. Starting with the end of Season 10, we will begin bringing back old rewards, starting with Season 1. This only includes the items that were purchasable, listed below. Items such as titles that were earned by rank are not returning, which makes sense. Given the exclusive nature of these rewards, however, we want to be sensitive to those players who earned them back in Season 1. Returning items are clearly marked as replica, to be distinguishable from the originals, and although the prices are not locked down just yet, these returning items are going to be priced at a premium. It is intended that an average player will have to play over the course of more than one season to acquire them. And lastly, any player who acquired these rewards in Season 1 will have a special achievement to mark the accomplishment. And so it includes things like, I'll just do the list here, because it's, like I said, they're just starting with Season 1, so it's only the Season 1 ones that were purchasable. The Season 1 replicas, Replica Juvenile Rancor Pet, Replica Victorious Weapon Sets, Replica Garada's Rancor Mount, and then the Armor Set, which is the Victorious Combatant, Infiltrator, Battler, or Mystic Armor Set. And unlike the original armor sets, the replica versions are not class locked, so that's interesting. So if you wanted a slightly different one, then you could do that. Season 11 will begin 2 weeks after Season 10 ends. During this 2-week grace period, we will be investigating any remaining player reports of cheating. In the instance of finding such cases, appropriate action will be taken. up to and including character ranks being reset. This will affect the leaderboards and associated rewards, especially the top 96. All tier rewards and top 96 will then be granted upon the start of Season 11. And a new vendor called Tuluk the Evokai will be appearing next to Garada the Hut at the start of Season 11. Tuluk will be selling the prior seasonal rewards, and they will not be taken away. If players are seeking the new seasonal rewards, Garada the Hut will have them. Players have only a few weeks left before the end of Season 10, so get in there and claim rightful glory in Garada's Arena of Death. So there we go. So yeah, a lot of interesting rewards going on, and it's kind of nice that they're bringing back some of the ones that maybe people weren't in the game at the time for. So they have a way to get them. There's a lot of cool, like the Rancor mounts are really cool, and there's a lot of other interesting things that have been brought up over the course of the seasons as well, as far as these rewards go.
Yep, get to playing ranked players, finish your season.
Mm-hmm. And then there was a question sort of following up on that. So Season 9's ending, I still have Season 8 tokens. Are they getting converted to credits, or what? Are you going to convert them to the new token? And then Eric replied, Season 8 tokens will be converted to credits at the same time that Season 9 tokens receive that conversion. And this is going to happen in a future update after 5.10.1. Yep, there we go. And so the final bit of news is more general Star Wars news. There is a glacial snap that's hitting most of the U.S., and Billy D. Williams did a nice little tweet that said, "Hey, baby, it's really cold outside. Thinking of everyone across the country battling below zero temperatures today. Stay safe and warm, and if you have to go outside, don't forget your cape." Very nice. So awesome, right. Billy D. Williams, the original Lando.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, it's -2 right now outside of my van.
Holy cow. How cold is it in your van? Are you freezing inside your van?
No, it's nice and toasty warm in here.
Do you have like a space heater in there?
Marcus.
No, the van's running.
Oh, it's running. Okay. You just have it running. Wow.
I am wearing a t-shirt with Kylo Ren on it, and I could be wearing shorts if I wanted to.
I am not happy right now.
Yeah, well, I'm a little further north, and it was pretty cold today. Got below freezing overnight, but we're a little bit west of where the real cold snap hit. So it's cold here, but it's not like it is back east. So I feel for you, man.
I have one more tweet I want to call out. Anthony Daniels has wrapped filming for episode 9. He tweeted that out a couple days ago. So we're getting our beloved cast members finishing the work on a movie we're all going to enjoy and is totally not going to divide the fandom in 11 months.
Exactly.
Positive thinking, everyone.
Right. Excellent. Okay, that'll bring us to the force feedback, where you go over your tweets and emails. And this is not really going over a specific one, but we got some information from a couple of people, and especially I'd like to thank Overbite on Twitter for really pointing this out. There was a technical issue with the podcast version of OotiniCast, and Tio also helped me figure this out behind the scenes, because actually, even though Tio's no longer on the show, he still kind of keeps a hand in on the technical side once in a while, and when something... he helps put out the show, in terms of, actually getting it out as a podcast. And so when something crops up, he's willing to help out on that as well. So thank you, Tio.
Thanks, Tio.
Yeah, so unfortunately, a couple of episodes were unplayable for certain podcast platforms, unfortunately, including like the main one from Apple. It's essentially, it turns out a Twitter-related feed had changed, and it caused it to send in a second enclosure, which would confuse the feed reader, which included Apple's, and making it so that instead of playing a podcast, it would simply show the JPEG picture connected to the show and not play the actual show. This has actually been fixed, and in fact, the readers have all kind of gone back and figured out, that the old episodes are fixed as well. So even if you go back, you'll be able to listen to the older episodes. They should all be playable. In future, though, if this ever happens again, or if you ever have any kind of problems with the podcast version, well, first of all, we appreciate you letting us know. But you can also listen directly on OotiniCast.com, because you can actually, every episode shows up as a post, and there's a clickable link there that you can listen to it. Or alternatively, you can listen to the raw version of the episode, which goes out on YouTube. So even if you're not listening to us on Twitch as we record, once the show has gone out, then it becomes a YouTube video at OotiniCast on YouTube. But again, appreciate the notification and the help from Overbite on Twitter, and a few others who let us know that they were having similar issues, letting us know the scope and nature of the issue. And again, thanks for listening, and appreciate it. So I don't think there's a Sarlacc Digest, and I know you guys have a tight schedule today, so I think that's a show unless there's anything else you need to do.
No, let's wrap it up.
Thanks so much for having me again.
You bet. Thanks for coming, and man, stay warm. That's crazy cold today. The cold snap will be over pretty soon, right?
I hope so.
Yeah, before the ads come, right?
Yep, that's right.
Just keep a tauntaun to kill right next to you.
That's right.
They're lukewarm.
Dad jokes. Love it.
And that's the show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Steel Sean server, or in our
Utini Rage
Guild on the Empire side, do a /C join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @OotiniCast. You can find contact details for all of us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe to us using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live bi-weekly on Thursdays, usually at 6 p.m. Pacific. Go to OotiniCast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby. And thank you to the chat room, and thank you, Marcus, and thank you for the Utini Rage.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and we'll see you next show.
See you.
Okay, so everyone keep Audacity rolling. Hey everyone, thanks for coming. I appreciate your coming at an unusual time, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. I will be doing a stream later on today, but I want to get my editing done first, so it'll be kind of later than usual. So you guys take care, and all right, have a good one. Stopping the stream and stopping the broadcast.